The only thing that matters when it comes to marketing is to make sure whatever campaign you put out benefits the company. However, earlier this year, Bud Light became a case study for all business students in the future in what happens when you completely ignore your customers. So what happened? Back at the very start of April, Bud Light partnered with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan is a social media influencer and has over 12 million followers across TikTok and Instagram. The promotional video involved Dylan hyping the brand up for March Madness, her own 365-day celebration of womanhood, and showed off special edition cans of Bud Light made just for her.
This month I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
What followed after was the literal definition of when shit hits the fan. Bud Light boycotts were immediately called, with this all randomly building up to Kid Rock shooting a case of Bud Light because that's something that happens in America. Regardless, the boycott began picking up steam. Sales began dropping sharply for Bud Light. Towards the end of June, sales were down by 28% year on year, costing around $26 million in sales, and that's just within a week. The constant drop in sales began spreading to the company that owns Bud Light, AB InBev. At the end of March, the business market value was worth around $145.5 billion. By the end of May, around $27 billion was wiped from its market value. $27 billion from one video. The first question that came to my head when this all went down is, why did Bud Light go down this route in the first place? This partnership originated from Bud Light VP of Marketing, and apologies if I butcher the pronunciation of this name, Alyssa Heinerscheid. Around the time the company partnered with Dylan, she did an interview on the Make Yourself at Home podcast, which I feel gives some good insight into the line of thinking to all of this. She said, "I'm a businesswoman. I had a very clear job to do when I took over Bud Light, and it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time, and if we do not attract younger drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. We had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been the kind of brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor, and it was really important that we had another approach," she said. Throughout the podcast, she further went on to explain that she felt her mandate was to evolve and elevate the Bud Light brand, which meant shifting the tone and inclusivity. Not long after the fallout from the video with Dylan Mulvaney, Alyssa and Daniel Blake, the group VP of marketing for AB InBev mainstream brands, both took leaves of absence. As you can imagine, this leave was involuntary. With millions being lost every week and the company's shares sliding, Bud Light have been scrambling to recover. Budweiser themselves released their advert titled The Shared Spirit, and this ad covers everything in an appeal to American values: handshakes, a horse, raising the American flag, and two buds just enjoying their beer on their land. The advert finished off with a powerful, "This is the story of the American spirit." Chills. Another desperate attempt was to bring back their famous mascot Bud Light, and what a fun little Twitter exchange the two accounts had. Do you get it? He said the John Wick line. However, as soon as you have a target on your back on Twitter, it's pretty much near impossible to avoid all the shots being taken in your direction. So Bud Light takes another approach. We're heading into the summer, let's get those summer vibes going. The company released this advert with the campaign tagline being "Easy to Summer." What I find funny about this advert is that throughout, you have people drinking Bud Light but doing stupid things. So I mean, the ball's on Bud Light to release an ad campaign where you're basically saying you have to be an idiot to go ahead and drink Bud Light. Of course, just like Twitter, the comments on their YouTube channel continue to indicate that this boycott on Bud Light wasn't ending anytime soon. In July so far, 2 glass bottling plants have been shut down, leaving 600 employees out of the job. The Ardar Group, I think I said that right, announced the decision, with them indicating that this was due to slow sales with AB InBev. Dylan Mulvaney has since left America for Peru on a solo trip, with her saying that she didn't feel safe in her own home.
"I feel very safe here. It's a little sad that I had to leave my country to feel safe, but that will get better eventually."
The question here is, what does Bud Light do? And to be honest, I don't think there's a lot they can do. The issue here is that Bud Light, in just one video, essentially pissed off their entire core demographic. Look, American politics and its culture is a whole different ballgame that I am not going to get involved with. However, it is clear that all those that once drank Bud Light were those less likely to respond to diversity and inclusion, especially if they felt it impacted on their own beliefs. Their customers seem to lean more on the right side of all things political and beliefs-wise, So having a transgender person suddenly become the face of their brand of beer was a shockingly terrible advertising misfire. On the other side of that coin, the audience that Bud Light was trying to focus on attracting are people who most likely don't like beer at all, let alone drinking a light version of it. An American study estimated that 0.5% of American adults identify as transgender, which is around 1.3 million people out of a population of around 330 million people. So even in a best case scenario of appealing to all those within the transgender community and beyond, the number is still very small in the grand scheme of things. This has left Bud Light absolutely pissing off its core demographic, who are people that, once they feel their beliefs have been insulted, are very quick to vote with their wallet. From a YouGov poll, they found that Bud Light is no longer in the top 10 most popular beer brands. And even worse, Bud Light, which had been the best-selling beer in the USA since 2001, had lost its spot to Modelo Especial. And for those who identify as more progressive and diverse, they've sided with Dylan, who revealed that after months of bullied and transphobia, she felt abandoned that the company refused to publicly stand with her, stating, "For a company to hire a trans person and then not publicly stand by them is worse, in my opinion, than not hiring trans person at all." So Bud Light seemingly did the impossible in a fractured American political landscape in uniting all sides of the spectrum together to hate and boycott Bud Light. From someone living over in England, I can't help finding this situation depressingly hilarious. I mean, firstly, Bud Light is a shit beer. Anyone from the UK and probably just outside of America in general already know this. How it's remained the best-selling beer in America for over 20 years up until now genuinely shocks me. If I'm drinking a beer, I don't give a about the number of calories in it. I don't drink a beer to lose weight. I remember trying Bud Light years ago, and the man was the taste so watered down and left me having to drink like 8 cans of the stuff to start feeling buzzed, as well as incredibly bloated. This whole marketing misfire from Bud Light has genuinely been fascinating to watch unfold. If you spend decades building up a loyal fan base, the absolute number one rule is to not go ahead and give them a reason to be pissed off with you. Read the room better and offer a marketing campaign that continues to encourage that loyalty. It's really not that hard. Either way, I don't see how Bud Light can recover from this, as the brand continues to be boycotted and looks to be in a worse position with each passing month. Comment down below your thoughts on all of this. Can Bud Light be saved, or is this the end for the brand? And also, don't forget to quickly subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Peace.